It's sickening, isn't it? I mean, absolutely sickening that that tiny Southeast Asian nation of Brunei, headed by a megalomaniacal sultan, should decide to impose extreme Sharia law calling for stoning to death for gay sex or adultery. Not to mention lopping off hands and feet if there's any allegation of theft, not to mention whipping and jail terms for people who don't pray on a Friday or have children, quote, out of wedlock. It's really such a savage composite of villainous behavior towards your own citizens. And by the way, that kind of extreme Sharia law is not confined to Brunei. Stoning also exists in Afghanistan and Iran and Sudan and Somalia and northern Nigeria, but none of those jurisdictions at the moment is as extreme as Brunei. So naturally, Brunei has attracted universal condemnation from everywhere. Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, the UN Human Rights Council, individual governments, and famous celebrities like George Clooney and Elton John and Ellen DeGeneres are all calling for a boycott of Brunei's hotels in places like Los Angeles and London. But if you will forgive me, that's not going to change the policy of Brunei. You can't shame them into submission. So let me suggest two concrete approaches that might work. First, Brunei is a member of something called ASEAN, A-S-E-A-N, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It's a trading bloc on which Brunei depends. And if ASEAN, which contains countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Singapore, if they got together and said to Brunei, as the Commonwealth once said to Zimbabwe, unless you change your policies, we will suspend your membership, that might jolt Brunei into compliance. Yes, Malaysia and Indonesia, in particular Muslim nations, have very, very antagonistic laws towards homosexuality, but nothing that approximates the extremism of Brunei. The second possibility is this. People don't realize that at this very moment in time, Brunei is engaged in intense negotiations with the United Kingdom for a trade deal. Now, the United Kingdom is preoccupied by Brexit, but if they said to Brunei, the trade deal is off, you need it, your economy is declining, but it's off unless you suspend the Sharia law, then that might jolt Brunei into compliance. But it's more than that. Brunei used to be a British protectorate. There are 2,000 British soldiers located in Brunei to help the Sultan quell any opposition or dissent, and they have done so in the past. If the United Kingdom said, we're withdrawing our troops, Brunei would suspend the law. But you know what the problem is? Whether it's the United Kingdom or everywhere else in the political leadership of the world, they don't care. Witness Syria, Yemen, Myanmar. The political leadership doesn't care. So countries could do the most dastardly things to their citizens, and the political leadership everywhere else doesn't care. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis.